Yeah, absolutely. Like, when we were doing some of the first albums, I guess all of the idols or peoples that we
For over 4 decades, James Hetfield has been the voice and driving force behind Metallica, one of the most successful metal bands in history. But in recent interviews, the frontman has been shockingly candid about his feelings toward the band's modern music, and his revelations will stun longtime fans. James isn't holding back anymore. He's openly questioning whether today's Metallica lives up to the legacy of albums like Master of Puppets and Ride the Lightning. From his struggles with the band's evolving sound to his honest assessment of their recent albums, James is revealing doubts and frustrations that he's kept hidden for years. His brutally honest take on modern Metallica exposes the internal conflicts of a band trying to stay relevant while honoring their legendary past. What he's saying about their current music will change how you hear every new Metallica song. The weight of living up to legends. James Hetfield faces a burden that few musicians can understand, the pressure of competing with his own legendary past. Every new Metallica album is inevitably compared to classics like Master of Puppets and Ride the Lightning, creating an impossible standard that haunts the band's creative process. In recent interviews, James has been remarkably candid about this pressure. He's admitted that the shadow of their 1980s masterpieces looms over every songwriting session, making it difficult to approach new music with fresh eyes and open minds. The expectation to recreate the magic of their early albums has become both a blessing and a curse. The challenge is compounded by the fact that those classic albums were created by younger, hungrier musicians who were revolutionizing metal music. James acknowledges that recapturing that raw energy and innovation is nearly impossible when you're established legends with decades of success behind you. James has spoken about the internal debates within the band about whether to chase their past glory or forge new creative paths. The tension between satisfying longtime fans who want another Master of Puppets and the artistic need to evolve has created ongoing conflicts within the group. The commercial success of their classic albums also creates financial pressure. With millions of dollars at stake and massive touring operations to support, there's enormous pressure to deliver music that will satisfy both critics and the marketplace. This business reality often conflicts with pure artistic expression. Perhaps most challenging is James's own perfectionism and self-criticism. He's his own harshest judge, constantly measuring new material against the songs that made him famous. This internal pressure has led to extended recording sessions and countless revisions as the band struggles to meet their own impossibly high standards. The honest assessment of recent albums. James Hetfield has been surprisingly frank about his feelings toward Metallica's recent output, particularly their 2016 album Hardwired It to Self-Destruct and 2023's 72 Seasons. His assessments reveal an artist grappling with the realities of creating music in his 60s versus his creative peak decades earlier. Regarding Hardwired, James has expressed mixed feelings about the album's reception and his own satisfaction with the material. He stated, "It's real, it's raw, but I was scared to show my pain. But that's what people need now, especially after the pandemic. You need to be real." This vulnerability shows his ongoing struggle to balance authenticity with commercial expectations. James has been particularly critical of his own songwriting process on recent albums. He's admitted, "I overthink things. Every time I lay a guitar track, I think, is this worthy of Metallica? Or am I just rehashing old Hetfield tricks?" This self-doubt reveals the internal battles he faces with every creative decision. The frontman has also been honest about the band's changing dynamic and how it affects their music. With decades of history and established roles, the spontaneous creativity that fueled their early albums has been replaced by a more calculated professional approach that sometimes lacks the raw energy of their youth. James has acknowledged that modern Metallica operates differently than the hungry young band that created their classics. The comfort of success and the weight of expectations have fundamentally changed how they approach songwriting and recording, not always for the better. The production and sound struggles. One of James Hetfield's most frequent criticisms of modern Metallica concerns their production choices and overall sound. He's been surprisingly vocal about feeling disconnected from the polished, overproduced approach that has characterized some of their recent work. James has expressed frustration with what he sees as the loss of organic, raw energy in their modern recordings. He stated, "Sometimes I'll hear a mix back and think, are we trying to make this sound too perfect? Rock and roll ain't perfect." This comment reveals his longing for the grittier, more immediate sound of their earlier albums. The evolution of recording technology has created new challenges for the band. While modern tools offer unlimited possibilities for perfection and manipulation, James sometimes feels this technology distances them from the authentic, live energy that made their classic albums so powerful. James has also been critical of the band's tendency toward overanalysis and endless revisions in the studio. He's admitted that the spontaneous magic that created songs like Creeping Death and For Whom the Bell Tolls is harder to capture when every note is scrutinized and perfected through multiple takes and digital manipulation. The pressure to create radio-friendly singles while maintaining their metal credibility has also frustrated James. He's spoken about the challenge of writing songs that satisfy both commercial demands and his own artistic vision, often feeling like these goals are incompatible. Perhaps most tellingly, James has admitted to sometimes feeling like a stranger to his own band's sound. The combination of modern production techniques, evolved playing styles, and changed band dynamics has created music that, while technically proficient, sometimes lacks the soul and immediacy he craves. The Lars dynamic and creative tensions. James Hetfield has been unusually candid about his creative relationship with drummer Lars Ulrich and how their dynamic has evolved over 4 decades. His recent comments reveal ongoing tensions about musical direction and creative control that continue to shape Metallica's sound. The push and pull between James and Lars has been a defining characteristic of Metallica since their formation, but James has suggested that this dynamic has become more challenging in recent years. He's described Lars as always pushing for experimentation and boundary pushing, while James sometimes craves a return to their more straightforward metal roots. James has stated, "Lars will always say, let's experiment, let's push boundaries, but sometimes you just need a straight-up, fist-in-the-gut riff. You know?" This quote reveals the fundamental tension between innovation and tradition that continues to define their creative process. The drummer's influence on the band's direction has sometimes frustrated James, particularly when it comes to incorporating elements that he feels don't serve the songs. James has hinted at disagreements over everything from song arrangements to production choices, suggesting that creative consensus is harder to achieve than it once was. James has also been honest about how their long history together can both help and hinder their creativity. While their musical telepathy allows for complex compositions, their established patterns and expectations can also limit their willingness to take genuine risks or explore truly new territory. The future and acceptance of change. In his most recent interviews, James Hetfield has shown a growing acceptance of Metallica's evolution while maintaining honest assessments of their current place in music history. His perspective reveals an artist coming to terms with the realities of aging, changing, and creating music in a different era. James has acknowledged that expecting modern Metallica to recapture their 1980s magic is unrealistic and potentially counterproductive. He stated, "You have to risk sucking if you want to keep moving forward. I'd rather make a record that's hated but honest than a record that's fake." This philosophy represents a mature approach to creativity that prioritizes authenticity over commercial success. The frontman has also expressed gratitude for the band's longevity and continued ability to create music together. Despite his criticisms and frustrations, he recognizes that few bands maintain relevance and creativity for over 4 decades, making Metallica's continued existence something to celebrate rather than criticize. James has shown increasing interest in exploring personal themes and vulnerability in his lyrics, even if it means departing from traditional metal subjects. His willingness to address his own struggles with addiction, relationships, and aging has added depth to recent Metallica albums, even if the musical approach has evolved. What do you think about James's honest assessment of modern Metallica? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more revealing music stories. Thanks for watching.